Well, on behalf of all the Ravens that are here, I just want to say, first of all, we love Trey Walker. We just got to know Trey Walker 1 year ago. We found out what a good-hearted, hard-working, determined, really sweet young man that he was. I'd like for all of the Ravens that are here, the players, the coaches, just to stand up and be recognized for being here today. Pre-draft, I'll tell you a couple stories about Trey, maybe. I'll tell you about his year a little bit. But a year ago, we had a pre-draft meeting, and we brought Trey in, and we wanted to get to know him and find out what he was all about before we drafted him. So we sat down in my office, right across the table, looking me right in the eye. First thing I noticed was that smile. Yeah. Big Trey Walker smile. And I just said, Trey, what's the most important thing? What's your number one motivation in life? He said, I'm going to take care of my mom. That's my number one motivation. I love her, and I appreciate everything that she's done for me. So he was on his way to doing that. We had OTAs last year. And we're practicing football. We practiced every morning. Got them up at 7:30 in the morning. I mean, in the building at 7:30 in the morning to start football. They worked out at 6:30. It was tough. It was demanding. Rashad, you guys know how it was last year with the rookies. And but we also do player development to kind of help the guys with Harry Swain, help them transition to the NFL. And one of the programs that they had was a movie that they were going to do down in Baltimore City at a movie theater. And it was going to be the rookies, and it was going to be about making the transition and growing up and becoming a man and things like that. And it was not something that Trey really wanted to do. And Matt Weiss is his position coach, and Trey and Matt went at it pretty good, right, Matt? I think you know Trey. Trey makes up his mind about something. He was determined that he was going to get ready for practice the next day. He was going to get his playbook, he was going to get in that cold tub, and he was going to get ready for practice because he was here for football. Finally, Matt and he came to an agreement that he was going to go do the mandatory rookie movie that he had to do down in Baltimore City. Well, next thing you know, Matt's nervous about it, so he calls in the morning, calls Harry, wants to find out what happened. Harry says it went great. He says, as a matter of fact, there were kids down there that, Baltimore City boys mostly, that had been involved with domestic abuse and things like that in their life. And Trey was their guy. Trey found those boys before, during, and after. The bus was full of our rookie players, right? Except for Trey. Trey was on the bus, Trey was talking to the kids. And our rookies are honking the horn. Come on, Trey, we gotta go. And he connected with those kids. He was also transitioning to wintertime in Maryland, okay? He had never experienced snow before, I don't think. We got 36 inches of snow in February, okay? That tall. So Chris Horton, one of our special teams coaches, gets a knock on his door. He's got his 2-week-old baby, all right, little girl. He's taking care of her. 2 weeks of snow. He snowed in, and the door knock, pop, pop, pop. It's his neighbor from across the street and 2 doors down, Trey Walker. Knee deep in snow with a light jacket. All right, Coach, I got to dig out. Do you have a snow shovel? So Chris digs a snow shovel out of the garage, hands it to him a little nervously. Sees Trey trot back through the snow, and he watches him. Chris feels bad that he couldn't help, but he had a 2-week-old. He's watching him shovel that snow, just shoveling, working. He really didn't know how to work a snow shovel. I'd never done it before. Icy, slippery. Finally, just as he finishes up, he's dug out, last shovel full, the shovel snaps in half. He comes tromping back through the snow, sheepishly knocks on the door, hands it back to Chris. Here's your shovel back. One last story. Steve Smith, a Hall of Fame wide receiver who is here, all right, got real close with Trey. Early on in training camp, it's hot, and Steve Smith comes up in a drill we call one-on-one, where the wide receiver runs a route, and the defensive back lines up over him to cover him. It's one-on-one, okay? Who steps up in front of Hall of Famer Steve Smith? Trey Walker. All right? Trey gets his hands on Steve. Had a pretty decent rep. All right, Steve didn't appreciate that too much early in training camp, and he told Trey about it. He let him know. Verbally got after him a little bit. But Trey didn't flinch, he didn't back down, he just kind of walked away. Next time that they stepped up, or Steve stepped up, who stepped up in front of him? Trey Walker. That's right. And here's what he said. So that time Steve got the best of him. Steve ran a route and caught the pass. And Matt Weiss, his position coach, kind of grabbed Trey to the side, not so much about the rep, but he just told him how proud he was of him. I want to get this right here, so I'm going to read it. How proud he was of him for how he handled the situation. And Trey said, Coach, that was no problem. He said, football has always been my escape. He said that playing football was like a vacation for him. And when he was on the football field in the National Football League, out here on the Baltimore Ravens practice field, that's just like being in paradise. Nothing to get upset about. After that, Steve, I think you saw something in him, you know? I think you saw heart and toughness, fearlessness, and a love for the game. So, just for me personally, just leave you with this. The thing I love most about this guy, this young man, was that Trey Walker smile. I mean, that smile could light up a room. And for some reason, we'd be standing there for the national anthem right at the 50-yard line. And I'm telling you, every single time, right there on my shoulder, I'd look back. Who was there? Trey Walker, right? With that smile. Some of the guys say you just want to get on TV. But I'd turn around, man, I'd see that smile, he'd get big hug, he'd say, Coach, everything's going to be okay. Trey Walker, we love you, and we're going to miss you.
I was Trey's assistant principal when he was at Miami Edison. And trust me, me and Trey had a lot of encounters. I thought I was his personal assistant principal. But really loved this kid, and we kept in touch over the years. And one of the things that I admire most of the story, I can tell you a lot of stories that happened in my office, but there's nothing like the story I can tell you. It was about 3 days after he was drafted to the Ravens. I called him. I said, I'm so proud of you. This kid said to me, it was because of you. You talk about humbleness, humility. I couldn't even talk anymore. Here I am calling to congratulate him. And he was telling me how much he appreciated me. And it just shook me. Because you deal with so many kids over the years, but when a kid can touch you, and when he makes it, and he's able to say that you helped pull him up, I will never forget that. When I sat on my bed and I saw the story, I started praying because I said it just can't be. But you know, God's time is God's time. We can't question it. So for the family, for the friends today, as I step away, we can all take solace in knowing one thing: before God called him home, he gave him a chance to live his dream.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Sherry Mitchell. I'm a pediatrician in Houston, Texas. I met Trey when I was helping the football team with English and biology, and I would hire football players in the summertime to help move charts and do little things, just put a little money in their pocket. And Trey was my foreman. Actually, Jerome was the first person that worked in my office, and he introduced Trey to me. And the joke was, hey, Dr. Mitchell, you don't hire anybody listed from Miami. I'm actually from Memphis, Tennessee, but here's a quick story. I had converted from my medical charts to the electronic health records. You guys know now, you go to the doctor's office, we all sit on computers. And I said, hey, Trey, man, we got a big job to do. And he said, hey, I'm going to get 3 or 4 people, usually Wilcox, Trey Hand, would come help out. Well, the draft, I believe, was on Thursday. And so when he got drafted, everybody at Texas Southern, we were so happy because he'd been our first person since 2008. Long story short, I said, Trey, I don't care that you were drafted in the 4th round. You have to be on the site at 8 a.m. on Saturday because I need a work excuse from Coach Harbaugh. Trey did not give me my excuse, and I fired him. But it was that was probably the best time the greatest pleasure I ever had in firing somebody. I was just so proud of him. So, he was a great kid. He had some knucklehead moments, but he was a great kid.
I know you can't understand it. I know some of us can't understand it now. But family and friends, your Trey had to give God something. He had to give him himself down here in order to get something better up there. The way they did, the way he died is troubling. The way it happened is heartbreaking. I still can't figure it out. And I know all of you still don't know why the Baltimore Ravens on January the 12th, 2013, when you were down to the Denver Broncos, how the defensive back let Jacoby Jones get behind him for that 70-yard touchdown with less than a minute left. I know y'all a lot, but I still can't Judas at the wedding party took vessels of water and touched them and turned them into wine. I know y'all know a lot, but I still can't figure out how Jesus took a fish sandwich one day and fed 5,000 people, not including the women and the children. And I've come to the conclusion that I gotta trust God. I may not like what God allows to happen, but I gotta trust God. I may not understand everything that God allows to happen, but I gotta trust God because God knows more than me. He is omniscient. God is everywhere at the same time. He is omnipresent. That means God is all powerful. He is omnipotent. That means God knows everything. And since I need a GPS to get me where I need to go, since I need Google to tell me what I need to know sometimes, and since nothing happens to us that hasn't already been filtered through the hands of God, I'm going to stick with Jesus because his ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. I know some of us won't get it, but in order to get something over there, you got to give something down here. Trey had to give his life down here in order to get to life eternal over there. Over there, where there's no more injured reserve. Over there, where there's no more suffering. Over there, where there's no more injections. Over there, where there's no more concussions. Over there, where there's no more penalties. Over there, where there's no more firings. Over there, where there's no more cuts. So farewell, Trey. You made the team. You don't have to work out anymore. You don't have to lift weights anymore. You don't have to eat properly anymore. You don't have to watch film anymore. You don't have to run drills anymore. As a matter of fact, you're starting now. You made the Pro Bowl. All Pro. You're now in heaven's Hall of Fame. We got this ceremony right now. You got the gold jacket. Farewell, Trey. Since we believe that Jesus died for all of our sins before we were born, and since we know that you've accepted Jesus as your personal Savior, we just stopped by to say this ain't a period, but a comma. It's not the end. It's just farewell until we see you again. Farewell, Trey. We'll see you in the land where Job declared that the wicked will cease from troubling and the weary shall be at rest. It's not goodbye. It's hasta la vista.